Christina from Hoopla.
And I'm Megan from Southern Branding.
Well, how are you today, Megan?
I felt like I just need to take a deep breath. Like, I'm good. I mean, I'm good. How are you?
And I'm good too, but the topic today is what it's like, kind of being a woman-owned business, having a family. I know a lot of women, whether you own your own business or just, whatever it is, the work-life balance or integration. I'm talking about it. And the reason this came up is I was literally driving my son to karate last night. I had been in back-to-back meetings, I think from 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. when I picked my daughter up from piano. And then I went back to my home office, worked for 2 hours straight, then took my son to karate. And I called Megan when I was leaving, dropping him off from karate. And I was like, I know what we should talk about on one of our sessions. And it's this. It's like, how do you do it? What are your biggest struggles? And kind of like, any insights, or we could just complain. I don't know.
I mean, I think, like, first of all, mom guilt is real, no matter what your profession is, whether you own a business, whether you work for somebody else, whether you're into, like, no matter what your situation, whether
even stay at home, even
being
a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, like you have that. And I think I've said before that I'm really aware of what I consider myself like privileged, because my line has always been to, like, I leave at 2. If I'm working from our office, I leave at 2. I go pick up our son from school and we go home. Sometimes we come back to the office if needed, whatever. But then I'm still working at home as well. So trying to balance that is really hard. And I think that, there's, no matter what your situation, there's pros and cons. And if you're in a job where you're in the office every day and then you get to come home and, it's turned off, then you're 100% at home. Which, I feel like is a little different from, my personal situation where I'm never totally turned off.
And that is exactly how I feel as well. I was at a lunch yesterday with a client, and she was telling me how she loved her job because, she can turn it off, when she leaves work. And I used to have a corporate job, for my whole career. And that is the one thing that I will say that I do miss is turning it off, taking a vacation, and actually taking one. And I'm not complaining, but I'm just being real about, owning your own business. And my husband owns his own business. And one thing he often says to me is, what's the point of us? Because our kids just started summer break this week. And he said, oh, we should go take them to the river, or he mentioned doing something. Oh, float the river. We should go float the river, and we should do it on a Tuesday, just in the morning. So we beat the rush, we beat the rush. And I was like, he's like, but I know you'll never do it because you're always working. And he said to me, what is the point of owning your own business if you are literally always working? Like, you can't, and I didn't have a good answer for him.
So what do you do? Do you go
I work? No, I work. I work, but what I do is I see his point. And so what I try to do is I try to and I've gotten bad recently of not following this, but I started a process called batching. So Mondays are my operational day, and I'll kind of work on kind of anything kind of ops related to my business. Tuesdays are my client days. So Tuesdays, I will try to schedule all my meetings on Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I believe I put as kind of a training day. So anything I want to learn about is what I do that day. I haven't been following this for the past few months because I've been so busy, but it does help. Batching helps. I do want to cut some time out for my family, especially over the summer, to go do fun things with the kids and my husband. And so it's something that I'm working on.
Yeah. I mean, that's really hard when you're in growth mode as you are in your business.
Yeah.
But I also feel like specifically, you know, this industry is really amazing for working moms, whether you're an owner, an employee, supplier, distributor side, whatever, because we do have a lot of flexibility and can work really from anywhere. So that also has its advantages. But I think that, like, no matter what side you're sitting on, you know, you always think the other side might be a little bit better. You know, I was having a conversation with a friend the other day who, you know, same type of thing. And she's like, but you get to pick them up every day. Like, you pick your child up every day. And I'm like, yeah, but you go and do, like, you go to the fair and you go and do things and you do all of this stuff and you get to, like, I don't do any of that. Like, I'm tired. I don't want to do, you know, I don't want to do any of that. And I think there's this, like, overwhelming feeling, amongst women, especially, of just being tired. Because you have to do all the things, right? And, you know, specifically, you know, this pandemic, you know, what will have done for our two women in the workforce is pretty saddening and maddening at the same time. So I feel fortunate to be in a position to at least own a business where it allows me some flexibility, and I don't feel like I'm behind in the workforce comparatively because we are in a position to where we own our business and can do that. But I was reading last night. I read this and I wanted to share this with you because it just, when we were talking about this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what we're talking about. So I'm gonna read it real quick. Some days I feel like the internet is 100 versions of strive for greatness and crush everything and be all the things. And wow, how's she killing the game? And you can too. And these are 64,000 things successful people do before dawn. But how about this? You don't have to crush or kill or slay anything today. You don't have to strive or wrangle or hustle or do anything violent today. You can just be a human in a quiet and honest way. And sometimes that's good too. And so, yeah, right. Like, so for me, that was the reminder of, like, okay, I can breathe. I don't have to be all of the things. Nobody is really even expecting me to be all of the things except for me. And sometimes just being is really just enough. I try to start my day every morning. I still lay in bed, like, after my alarm goes off, I still lay in bed for the first, like, probably 10 to 15 minutes and just kind of think about my day. And then, even by the time I get to the office, sometimes, you know, by 8 o'clock during the school year, I've gotten up, I've gotten ready, I've made sure the kids ready, I've overseen breakfast, I've made sure, like, homework, I've fed the dogs, I've, you know, let the chickens out, made sure I've probably either done a load of laundry or started the dishwasher, dropped the kid off at school, had coffee, like, all of this, and I'm at the office by 8 o'clock. I'm tired, you know, right? And so sometimes even I will just shut my office door and I'll lay on the floor and put my legs up in a chair and stay there for 10 minutes, just with the lights off and my eyes closed, just to reset. And so sometimes even taking those small moments, I think, is really helpful and huge in being able to survive the big picture of the day and the week and the month and so on.
I agree with all of that. And I think, like, when I'm being the best version of myself, I am incorporating those self-care and making it, like, non-negotiable. And then when I'm really stressed and not taking care of myself, I know I'm not, because I'm not doing any of that stuff for myself. And I would say currently I'm more so that than taking care of myself. And it's funny, I've always been very into just self-growth and just learning how to be the best version of myself I can be. And I have a certification for, like, holistic health coaching. So I know how to do all the things, you know, like, I know. But, you know, and that's the big thing when you brought up mom guilt. The other thing that I think can be hard is I don't take care of myself. So then I can't be the mom I want to be, because I'm so burned out. I'm kind of resentful. So when I'm at my worst, I'm resentful that I have so many things to do. I have no time for myself. I don't have the energy to give. And so it's kind of cyclical. So it's like kind of when you're on the airplane, you have to put the mask on yourself first to be that person for your family and others.
What do you think stops us? Because I'm like same boat. Like, so what do you think stops us from, or keeps us from being able to take those moments for ourselves? Because as you said, like, I know what works for me. I know what I need to really be doing to take care of myself. And a lot of times I don't do it because that takes effort.
Yeah.
And I'm tired and I don't want to put in effort.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So how do you get through that?
It's time for me. It's the time and energy. And I think that is what you just said. And so honestly, I have to make the time. I have to be more intentional. I have to wake up 30 minutes before my whole household wakes up. So I can do like a meditation, or sometimes I like to start the day like journaling. And I don't actually enjoy journaling or meditation. It's very hard for me. That's just not how I operate. I like to get things done, not sit there and and think about things. But I do know when I actually am taking that time to journal or read a chapter of a book or whatever before the whole house wakes up, I am a better version of myself. Another thing that I do actually do for myself is I had picked up running during quarantine when it first started, and I'm training for my first marathon. So I think I fell in love with running because I never liked running before, because it was a way to get away from my house.
That's like your time.
Yes. And so it's almost meditative for me, because I will be thinking probably for the first 20 or 30 minutes while I run. But then at a certain point, I have nothing left to think about. So then I actually do get in this state where I can really just kind of not think, which is what meditation ultimately is. So that's something I do for myself. But I know doing those other steps that you were talking about, and that I mentioned for me, like the journaling and the actual meditation or reading a book, that really helps me.
So let's go back for just a second. I want to pick something apart a little bit. So, we hear about meditation, right? But there's so many different forms of meditation. And I don't think that at least for myself, that meditating is just what we think about when meditating, like sitting with the that is not necessarily what meditating is, and it can take on different forms and be different for everybody. For me, when I think about like really like what meditating, the purpose, it's to quiet myself. And so any of the things that I can do to quiet myself, whether that's running, whether it's being still, whether it's laying in bed for the first 10 minutes of my day.
Are you checking your phone? Are you checking your phone when you're laying in bed for the first 10 minutes though?
Well, sometimes I am, but I really try not to. But yeah, a lot of times, and that's a bad habit too. Like my alarm will go off and I'll immediately, okay.
Me too.
57 emails between midnight and 6 a.m. What's that about? Going through those kinds of things. So I really try to not, in the mornings for me, like I'm a quiet morning person. I need that space in the mornings. That's important to me. My family is big and loud, and I have to recharge with quiet. So having some solitude is super, super, super important.
Same for me, but also I want to touch on when you're talking about meditation, and one thing that I even forget to remind myself about, and you did it when we first started this segment, breathing. Just taking some slow, intentional breaths for like 30 seconds or whatever it is like amazing for you. So, and I forget to do it. And, sometimes you just need to take a big old deep breath and kind of just relax for a second.
Yes. And reset. It's like a big, for me, like if I'm really being intentional about it, then that's what the like laying on the floor with my feet up and doing that for 10 minutes, it changes your blood flow. And so it literally is a reset for your body. And, it's one thing. I used to have a really good yoga practice, and I'm way out of practice with it. That's one thing that's always still really stuck with me, and that I do that on a weekly basis for sure. And, sometimes I just need to, like, it's too much, there's too much noise. And with being, working, moms and owning businesses and all of that, there's only so much noise we can filter out. So you have to do those intentional things, and it's super hard. The other thing that I really value are some women friendships that I have that are,
Totally.
that feed you and are so important. And when I'm having those moments where I don't want to do anything and I can't take care of myself because I'm just that tired, like having other women around me that can step in and help and do that for me. I mean, we all need that. We all have to, like, I'm gonna get teary talking about that. Like we all have to have those relationships in our lives, I think.
One thing I have to say, I moved to Boise 7 years ago, and I grew up in Houston and San Francisco, and then I kind of bounced around in my 20s in LA and San Francisco and Houston again. But I will say, moving to Boise 7 years ago, the women here are absolutely amazing. Like everyone's about building each other up. They're genuine. They're just real. And I feel really appreciative of all of my friends, my tribe or whatever. So shout out to you guys, know who you are. Shout out to you, because you make my life better. But and one more thing is this conversation's kind of bringing up for me is a lot of times when I'm really lost or feeling overwhelmed on taking care of myself, what I'll do is I will sit down and write a list of things that I like to do for myself, just a long list. And then I'll just highlight like one thing and make a goal that the following week I will do that every single day for myself, or whatever it is, whatever makes sense. And that's how, because it's overwhelming. When you think of like, okay, I got to meditate, I got to work out, I got to do this, I got to do that. So I just pick one thing, and then I just consistently promise myself to do it every single day for, a week or two. And then, I check back in with myself. Is this working for me? Do I want to pick something else? But I kind of start small. And after this conversation, I will be writing a new list, because I have not been taking care of myself at all, I would say, for months.
Well, I mean, just total honesty, like I was in for me, a really not great space several months back, just with the weight of the entire year and the struggle, like the huge struggle of it was just like really crushing all of the sudden. And it just felt like everything was battle. And so the fact of like moving, of putting one foot in front of the other, like continually doing something. It doesn't have to be, all of the things, which I think is why, that little passage really spoke to me, because it was sometimes you can just be, you don't have to be, greatness and killing it and crushing it and, achieving, climbing mountains and all of these things. You can just be, and that's good enough too. Which I just kind of got lost there. But honestly, so me reaching out to you with like, hey, do you want to collaborate? Do you want to do for me? That was kind of like a moment like that too, of just trying to keep moving forward, to create and to do something. And it doesn't have to be, all of the things at once, but like those little movements, that's
micro
what
movements. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm glad you reached out to me. I was like, who is this lady? What does she want to do? And it took effort for us to get together and figure out, how are we going to make this work? I don't even know if it's working right now. We probably have our 5 viewers, maybe. Hey guys. And don't forget, DM us if you have a topic you want us to talk about. But, I think we've become genuine friends at this point. I appreciate our friendship. I don't want us to go on too long. But what I thought we could.
Enough of the mushy. Yeah.
What?
I said enough of the mushy.
I know, right? Okay. So I have a great question. This wasn't going to be my question that I was going to do, but I just thought of it. So I'm going to do it. Okay. What book would you recommend? What's one of your favorite books that you've read recently or in general?
Oh gosh. Okay, so first, I love to read, and I I do a ton of Audible actually, because I'm in the car a lot between.
I do too.
So most of what I'm reading, I'm really listening to, and I'm trying to think of one recently that I was just blown away by, but nothing is just immediately coming.
Think about it. I have mine, and I think it's a great book. It's on topic for what we're talking about. And the way it's written is literally just little short stories, which typically I'm not into that type of book. But this book, it's little short stories. So you don't feel like overwhelmed. You can just pick it up whenever you want and read a story or whatever. So it's Glennon Doyle's Untamed.
Okay.
Have you read that one?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, and you can read that book literally over and over and over again, because there's so many little nuggets in there that are like just really amazing.
Yes. Yes. So. Yeah. She's amazing. Have you read, so she was in Little Rock maybe 4 years ago or so. And my best friend, Lydia, and we went and saw her together.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was the best time. She's amazing.
So yes, that's my book recommendation. Megan, do you have one?
I'm going to have to think about this. I don't know. I don't know. I feel pressure now. Like I'm like,
well, and that's what I do to her is I ask her random questions. So I'll follow up with you on our next call. We'll start it out with yes. Oh, that's right. You could do that too.
Okay.
Well, we will. I think next time we might be talking about hats.
Oh yeah, hats.
I'm excited.
Yes.
So many options.
Lots of options. Lots of decoration.
Okay, so we're signing off. Megan's going on vacation, so yay. And we will.
I will be reading my computer, just FYI.
Of course, because you have to.
That's what we have to do. Yeah.
Should I say vacation?
Well, okay, I know we're about to sign off, but I said this yesterday. I was like, I really debated on whether or not to bring my computer, because I would have my phone for email. And I was like, no, I have to bring my computer. I have to do payroll anyway. Like there are things that just have to get done, but that's okay. I have it scheduled in. I'm only going to do it for a certain amount of time, and then I'm not. So.
Well, let's check in with Megan when she gets back and see if she stuck to her guns on this. I'm also going on vacation in July to Sonoma for a week. So we'll do a little check-in with me before and after, so I can set my intentions, and we'll see if I stuck with them.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Bye, guys.